Hi guys, I'm GamerJock and this is Final Fantasy IV. Story for this game has you play a Dark Knight named Cecil that is troubled by a task him and his crew, the Red Wings, had to carry out for his king. Questioning leads him to being scolded by the king and the army until his friend Kane that runs the Dragoons offers to fulfill a mission for the king that has them taken a pendant to a village. The night before they go, Cecil is spoken to by Rosa, and she attempts to ease his mind, but to no avail. They go about their mission defeating a dragon on the way there, after which they reach a town only for the pendant to burst into the creatures known as bombs that set the village ablaze, killing many villagers except a girl named Rydia. Attempt to save her from the creatures, and she retaliates by summoning a titan that splits the ground in two. Cecil and Kane, lamenting at what they did, realize that they could no longer serve a king that would have let them spill the blood of the innocent. This begins a tale that's wrought with loss, vengeance, and redemption as you go along. Combat. This game's combat is the same as the first three entries, being it's a turn-based system. However, it differs when it comes to abilities, having more in common with 3 than 1 and 2. For example, the Dark Knight class can do an attack called Soul Eater, which allows you to double your attack power but costs you some health in the process. 3 and 4 share the concept of job classes. However, in 4 you cannot make characters anything you want. They have a set job class that is relevant to the story, where you could make anyone anything. Instead of 4 characters, you end up having 5 on screen, so you have plenty of help. Leveling is pretty basic in this game, like in Final Fantasy I, so level goes from 1 to 10, and I wouldn't say it's a must to be 99, but at the end of the game, it will definitely help. Enemies in this game go from simple like a goblin to crazy like red dragons, which follows under how I feel about the difficulty in this game. It has some enemies be easy, others be a pain in the ass. Platform differences. While the GBA, Game Boy Advance, and PlayStation versions are largely the same, just the GBA version has better graphics. The DS version, the one I played, has a few changes. For one, the graphics were converted from 2D to 3D. The cutscenes are fully realized in 3D with the addition of some solid voice acting. The DS one also has a system where you could get special augments that you can give to anyone if you do certain things. Like if you give Sid 2 augments to hold on to, you will lose those augments but possibly gain better ones. It's a give and take system. You usually get these augments such as Safeguard when someone leaves your party or dies. You are also able to switch augments in and out if you still possess them. However, you can only have so many commands on your command list. Attack and defend cannot be switched out, so be smart. The DS version also comes with a cool little feature that happens when you pause the game. A text bubble will appear next to your character's head that references what you were doing or what you need to do story-wise. This is very helpful if you put the game down for a little bit. Also, when it comes to rare drops, the drop rate is slightly higher in the DS version than the other two. This one also comes with this guy called Naming Way. I know it's a name only a mother could love. He seems to have an identity crisis, because every time you see him throughout the game, he has taken up a new job. Going from mapping way to somehow cheating way, where he actually cheats on his wife. Like, damn, I thought it was supposed to be a whimsical game. Oh, trust me, it gets depressing at times. Anyways, he does help you out sometimes, and does provide you with special augment if you complete the map to every dungeon. I highly recommend you do, because you will get Treasure Hunter, which you will need if you want some of the rarest items in the game. The bottom touchscreen serves to show your map and what percent you have on it until it's complete. There is also a PSP version which is called Final Fantasy IV The Complete Edition, which has Final Fantasy IV and the After Years, which happens years after Final Fantasy IV. However, from what I heard, playing the After Years isn't really worth it, since you will be doing very similar things to what you did in Final Fantasy IV. The DS and PSP are the best versions. It just comes down to which art style you prefer. The DS one also has a New Game Plus, so all items and augments carry over. The game is also available on the iOS, so basically on your phone. While graphics are crisp, it looks a little plain. Rare items. This is the doozy. If you want the best armors in the game, some secret summons and weapons, you'll be spending a lot of time fighting enemies. If you are lucky enough to receive a colored tail that range from black, red, blue, green, and yellow, you should turn them into this guy that has some tail fetish, the Tail Collector, which is located at the Adamant Isle Grotto. It's strange, but he gives you some of the best equipment in the game, such as Onion Knight equipment, which can only be used by 5 characters. If you get a pink tail, which is the worst of all tails, you get the Adamant armor, which is actually better than the Onion armor. There is also the item known as Ribbon, which prevents almost all status effects. Rainbow Pudding is also exceptionally rare. I only got it once during the whole game. As for regular rare items, I know that is oxymoron, but listen, a golden apple can increase your HP by 100, and a Soma drop can increase MP by 50. Both are permanent. The optional summons are also very hard to get, but great news, they aren't worth your time unless you're a completionist, because those summons suck. And they aren't strong like the main ones or the side quest ones are. Summons are a cool aspect in the game, in that they have a story substance to them. They're not just all-powerful beings to get so you can wipe out enemies. Some of them serve as protection, like the White Dragon. Or some serve as to test you if you're truly worthy to use their power, like Leviathan, Asura, and Odin. Locations span from fire caves to metallic places like the Tower of Babel, and even to the moon. I know, crazy. I thought this was a high fantasy game, not Apollo 13. You also visit different towns and cities like Fabul, that has an army of monks, or the Village of Mist that's known for summoning. Transportation is key in games like this since you're able to travel on foot, but not everywhere can be accessed on foot. You get airships, boats, and at one point you get a ship that is capable of carrying another ship and being able to fly to the moon. Carrying on that ship, metal fat chocobo, which I find creepy, that stores your items, as well as pods to heal in, and of course a teleportation device. You also add a drill to one of your ships that will allow you to travel underground. Multiple party members is something you have to deal with in this game. Since people come in and out of your party is a revolving door all game. The only problem with this is it makes you not want to pour a lot of time into a character since you don't know if they are permanent or not. Bosses in this game aren't easy and range from average to hard, such as when you fight any of the four fiends that is reminiscent of Final Fantasy I crystal bosses because of their elements. Or the strange fight you have with Dr. Lugia, which cannot be killed by regular means. You gotta use your noggin for that one. Secret bosses are bosses that come in the form of summons like Dark Bahamut and Bahamut, or the two I mentioned earlier like Asura and Odin. If you know what to expect and you're in your 70s to 99, you should be just fine. Watch out for Asura's high attack and both Bahamut's Mantle Flare attacks. Ending thoughts about this game is it has the best story of the four by making you care about everything and everyone, and the scripting and voice acting further shows the emotion. The pacing is also better, so there isn't a problem with the segments of the game being too slow like Final Fantasy III. The job class is streamlined down to simplicity, where it is great because it doesn't take any learning, but also a negative because there's no variety. This would be a great option if you're new to the RPGs and want to see the best the early Final Fantasy games had to offer. Well, that's all she wrote. Guys, thanks for the support. I'm back home where it all started and had begun to turn around the house back to it used to be, and continued lifting and eating well. Next week I will give you guys another Troy Experts video, since those videos seem to get good reception. Until then, see you later.